Once you are self-aware, you must make a change.
Welcome to the Millionaire Woman Show, where we'll be discussing leadership, business, human potential, inspiring you to live rich from the inside out. Unlock your creativity, stretch out of your comfort zone, break through your barriers, take inspired action, and achieve epic results. Now here's your host, 3-time best-selling author, speaker, and certified executive coach, Debra Kasowski.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Millionaire Woman Show. I'm your host, Debra Kasowski, here to talk to you about life, leadership, and business, helping you live rich from the inside out. Today, my topic is about complacency being the kiss of death. Now, are you getting too comfortable in the comfort zone? And are you afraid to change things up for the fear of failure? Why are you not afraid of not changing, getting left behind, getting outdated? Complacency is being comfortable with fine. Everything is fine. Just leave it as it is. It is being satisfied with what is and not ruffling anything or not changing anything. And it is often seen in groups and organizations and associations. We do it this way. We've tried it that way. It doesn't work. And they fail to recognize that new people have come to the table with new education, experience, knowledge, skills, and ability that can make something that didn't work. We have just the focus of Thomas Edison alone. You know, we always hear the story of 10,000 attempts before the light was discovered. Now, if he would have listened to people who said, well, we tried it that way and it didn't work, then he wouldn't have achieved what he did. Someone else would have, because they would have kept attempting to refine the work, adapting to the situation. So when you catch yourself in the comfort zone, you're not learning, you're not growing. Where the magic happens is outside the comfort zone, on the perimeter of that comfort zone, so that you have a little bit of that creative tension, what we call in coaching, where that tension is enough to move you into a place of change, because suddenly you have this desire to do better, to improve, to refine your course, to obtain or achieve something of a higher level. Now, complacency, it can destroy progress. And it derails careers and it damages relationships. And success is often, it can be a culprit of that, because people will reach this pinnacle of success and suddenly they think they no longer have to put any effort in, that everything has fallen into place and they have arrived. Well, I'm here to tell you, you better not get on that bus. You want to be able to continually grow and improve and commit yourself to lifelong learning and knowing that there are ways to improve yourself every single day. And when it comes to complacency, people often will say, well, I've reached the success. I'm going to sit back on my laurels and just watch everything pass by me, because no one can accomplish what I've accomplished. And complacency comes in with comparison. And they look at others and say, I'm so much farther ahead in my career, my life. And they have this no one can touch me mentality. And when that happens, this is where complacency comes in. And it can completely take you off the rails. So only to be surpassed by those people who are actually putting in the effort. They're studying, they're taking the courses, and they're refining their craft, become the best they can be. Now, staying in your comfort zone can be dangerous, and it can lead to extinction if you don't learn and grow. But it can also lead to making errors, dismissing things that you normally would have paid attention to. And even though you know you need to change things up, you know, there have been people at the top of their field who have hired coaches to get to different levels of their expertise for someone to continually challenge them to become better than they are. And I remember, you know, being at the bookstore Chapters, and I was just grabbed a book off the shelf, and I was actually in the sports psychology section, and it happened to be The Big Miss. and it is by Haney. And Haney was a coach for Tiger Woods. And I'm going to read to you an excerpt because Haney was hired by Tiger to actually help him improve his swing. And he knew that even though people are at the top of their field, there is always a way to improve and adapt and adjust. And I just love this short piece from the book, and I'm going to read it to you. Grip changes are huge decisions for pros because in short term, they're uncomfortable. They greatly affect feel. So I told Tiger, look, I just want to show you something. Just keep an open mind and try it for me, okay? He looked at me skeptically. I demonstrated the grip I wanted him to try. And then I put his left hand on the 5-iron and showed him how I wanted him to hold the club more in his palm. He immediately said, I can't do this. I quickly said, yeah, I know it feels kind of weird, but just try it. He took the new grip, placing his right hand also with more of his palm, and waggled the club. There's no way, he said. I repeated my urging, putting the ball in front of him to hit. He got over the ball and complained. I can't even cock my wrists, he said. Just hit one. He stood over the ball for a longer than usual, then swung, and the sound of impact was distinctive. Tiger's shots always made a great sound, but this one was even more flush. The ball flight was ideal as well, and Tiger visibly astounded that he hit a perfect shot with such an uncomfortable feel. He looked at me and said, show me that grip again. I put his hands on the club, and once again he said, I can't hit this ball with this grip. And I answered, you just did. He hit 2 more shots directly solid and went, wow. After a dozen more balls, he looked at me and said, I'm going with it. So you see here that when we change things up, things get uncomfortable. There's this level of resistance, but there's this spot that where we need to have this openness to new experiences and new opportunity and giving things a shot to see what can evolve, to see the results that we can get. But what can happen is people revert to their old ways. And this is one of the things that he talks about in his book. He talks about how when he works with athletes, what happens is when they get into practice, they get into old habits, they repeat old patterns and get back to what was once comfortable for them. And if you want to excel, you can't get stuck in old patterns, old ways that no longer serve you. And here's the thing, those patterns, those habits work to get you to one level, to get to a new level of distinction, a new level of improvement. You're not going to use the old patterns. You're going to build on them, and you're going to change up techniques and change up strategies and really focus in on how to improve versus being stubborn and saying, I'm only doing it this way. And when you do that, this is where you get stuck. So you'll hear even experts talking about kids who pre-specialize in sport at an early age and how easily it can entrap them into a comfort zone as well because of being so focused on only one sport versus playing other sports and having some unstructured play in their day that helps them adapt and have transferable skills in different periphery to hand motor movement, all these kind of things, small things that make a big difference at the end of the day. So I want to share with you 5 techniques that are going to help you to not become complacent, to challenge the status quo. Because as you know, on the Millionaire Woman Show, we don't look for average. We don't settle for mediocrity. We are looking to get better every single day, to be the best version of yourself. And complacency is not going to get you there. So one of the things is choose to have a beginner mindset every day. to really look at opportunities that come to you, even though you don't know how it's going to unfold. Expose yourself to those new opportunities. Focus on the process. Break it down step by step, seeing if there's things that you can do differently to hone. You hear of productivity hacks and different type of hacks to, streamline what you're doing to become more efficient. And like I said, be open and expose yourself to new situations and new experiences. That might even include a new genre of a book that you've never read before. You might expose yourself to something science fiction or the sci-fi or mystery, a book that you normally wouldn't pick up. It really helps you think differently. The other thing that I love, I was listening to an interview not too long ago where Dove Barron was on Mark Devine's podcast, The Unbeatable Mind, and he was talking about putting yourself in situations around people that don't think like you, to challenge your perspectives, to challenge the assumptions that you make. And travel is also a great way to do that, to expose yourself to new cultures, new situations, different ways of thinking, so that you can start seeing the world in a different perspective, in a different way. And you can do that in your own backyard by getting into these conversations with groups that you normally wouldn't associate with. So it challenges you and helps you stretch out of that comfort zone where the learning truly begins, on the edge of that comfort zone. Change your approach. Integrate what you learn. The other thing I recommend to people is when they read books. It's great to read volumes of books. I have a huge library of my own. And one of the things I always say is, have you implemented one thing from something you read? And if we were to get you to implement at least one thing from something you read, it could change the whole trajectory of how you approach things in life. Because how you do one thing is often how you do everything. And when you come with openness and, put aside judgment and, lessen the expectation of thinking that you're going to fail versus looking at it as a learning experience and what is possible, is a big difference. Instead of looking for failure, look for the learning, look for the possibility. And when you do that, you can adjust your techniques and adjust the course as you go. Now, here's the other thing I want to remind you. It's time to raise your standards. If you feel like you've got yourself stuck in a place of complacency, the best way to get unstuck is to change things up. Break up your regular routines. Develop new routines, focus on different habits, focus on changing up a process and refining it. It goes into moving into action to do different things differently. Maybe you're afraid to pick up the phone and call someone or email someone who you think is just above your league. So stretch out of your comfort zone. The answer is always no until you actually take action. So when you raise your standards, you're making a choice to move away from complacency, move away from being average, moving away from being mediocre. You are not meant for mediocrity. You are meant for greatness. And greatness exists when you challenge yourself above the status quo, to choose to see things differently, to focus on the process and learn to become better. It's all about honing your gifts, honing who you are, and showing up as who you see yourself to be. Don't let yourself get complacent when you've won the award, you've got some recognition, and thinking, I don't need to put any more effort in. Because before long, someone will surpass you before you even know it. And you will have gotten yourself in a place that's stuck because you were not willing to step up to the plate. Now, I want you to lean in, play this again, take down some notes, and really focus in on where you want to be. And every day, approach it with a beginner mindset that you are going to learn something new every day. Take time to read a minimum of 10 pages every day in something nonfiction, and take one thing from that learning or that book and implement it into how you live your life, how you lead, or how you run your business. And life will truly transform for you. That I truly believe. So focus in, dial in, and don't let the kiss of complacency take you down. Thank you for joining me. I'm Debra Kasowski. Please go over to my website at www.debrakasowski.com, where you'll find the address and everything in the show notes. Join me on social media. And as well, if you're interested in coaching so that you can get out of average, out of mediocrity to step into your greatness, message me and we'll set up a discovery session for you, a complimentary coaching session to see how we can work together in getting you to the next level. It's time to raise your standards and it's time to really level up. Thank you for joining me. As Muhammad Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And as always, go out and have a great day.